Yes, everybody ought to know that we are broadcasting live to millions of people around the world, even as we speak. Hopefully, millions of people. In order to broadcast live YouTube streaming, you have to make it public. So it's public. We'll see how many people are watching. Anyway, I want to welcome everyone to Linda Valley Villa, our Friday evening Vespers, as we welcome the Sabbath together. And it's always a joy when my good friends Stan and Don Hergert and Wes and all the others, who many of you have seen on television before on LLBN and I think 3ABN as well. They are the Strummers and Singers, and the gathering place is a Sabbath school that they started, and they just like to get together and jam and sing, and they do a lot of old-time down-home gospel, country gospel, southern gospel music. I hope you like toe-tapping music, because it's a great thing. Anyway, so I'm just gonna, and hello to all those that are watching up on 3rd floor, Linda Valley Villa, and on 2nd floor, and around the world. Yes. No, you can't be seen. See the laptop? The camera's pointing this way. So you're all there, you can't be seen. Anyway, so let's bow our heads for prayer and let's enjoy. Dear Father in heaven, Lord, we come to you this Friday night. Sabbath is now here, and we come together to enjoy music and praise and the Holy Spirit and your presence. Be with us all here, and may we all just have a foretaste of the heavenly kingdom, of what it will be like to have a wonderful jam session around the throne of Jesus. This we ask in your precious name. Amen. Amen.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Stan Appleton. Beside me is Sonia DeLange. And we have had a lot of fun over the years doing music. When we started, we thought, well, we know about 3 or 4 hymns. We could probably play one. By the time we finished, we had recorded over 700 different hymns. And it's hard to believe this type of repertoire that we all have in our history. And every time we would do a new song, somebody would say, well, why didn't you do that one before? Because it was one that everybody seemed to know. We've had our fun times and we had our funnier times in the recordings. There have been a lot of times that it's been very hard to hold back either the tears or the laughter because of the music that comes on. I think, my biggest problem here is Mark DeLange at the very end, because this music just gets to his soul. And but he does pretty good most of the time. You don't see the tears, you don't see him just chuckling away so he can't sing. But it's part of the fun. So we're going to start. Y'all have song sheets out there? Does anybody need a song sheet to read off of? There's a couple over there. And
we have one left.
Oh, you have one left, so it's a shareable.
You can fight up over it.
And we're going to start with number 46. Now, we've used this song sheet before, and we usually started in the middle or at the beginning, and so we never get to the end. So this time we're starting at the end. So make sure that we get these songs that we haven't done before. We'll start with number 46, Whisper a Prayer. And listen, what do you want to do?
Whisper a prayer in the morning. Whisper a prayer at noon. Whisper a prayer in the evening. To keep your heart in tune. God answers prayer in the morning. God answers prayer at noon. God answers prayer in the evening. To keep your heart in tune. Jesus may come in the morning. Jesus may come at noon. Jesus may come in the evening. So keep your heart in tune.
I will make you fishers of men. Fishers of men, indeed.
I will make you fishers of men, fishers of men, fishers of men. I will make you fishers of men if you follow me. If you follow me, if you follow me, I will make you fishers of men if you follow me. Hear Christ calling, come unto me, come unto me, come unto me. Hear Christ calling, come unto me, I will give you rest. I will give you rest. Hear Christ calling, come unto me, I will give you.
First person again, I will make you fishers.
I will
next one, His Name is Wonderful. In
His name is wonderful. His name is wonderful. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. He is the mighty King, Master of everything. His name is wonderful. Jesus, my Lord. He's a great shepherd, the rock of all ages. Almighty God is He. Bow down before Him, bow and adore Him. His name is wonderful, Jesus my Lord.
So tonight I thought we would have a little fun. I've usually given histories of hymns or tell a few anecdotes about them. Tonight you're going to meet the cast. So I would like first to introduce you to Helen Juman. Helen is our pianist. She's back here. Helen, would you stand up and wave at the camera over there?
Hi, Mama. I hope she's watching.
She better be watching from the Philippines, right? So Helen is a master music teacher. And so Helen, tell us anything you want about yourself.
I'm just a piano player.
No.
I said I'm just a piano player. And I'm very good at doing what I'm told. So this is my boss.
How many students do you have?
I'm 56.
56.
That was sweet.
Okay.
So,
And how long have you been teaching?
Oh my.
That's fine.
48 years.
Woo! And you were born and raised where?
Born in the Philippines, raised over there.
Is it true that all Filipinos have wonderful music intuition?
Oh yeah.
I think so.
And she does like to ride her scooter. Now this is one of these kick scooters. Do you have it?
Over there.
Okay.
No motor.
No motor. She's the motor on it. And that's how she gets around all London most of the times. So we're very happy. Any key is what you please with Helen. And that is, I think, remarkable because some of us are limited to 2 or 3 keys. I'd rather have Jesus, number 49, and C. Sonia DeLange has been my partner in crime now for a lot of years. I'm married to Carol back in the back, and she's married to our bass singer Mark over there. But it's interesting when it goes out over the air, a lot of people thought that Sonia and I were married. We are not. And I don't know if we get along better because we're not married or what, but it has been a lot of fun putting these programs together. So Sonia, introduce yourself.
Okay. I'm Sonia DeLange, as you know. I grew up on a dairy farm and wheat farm in Loyal, Oklahoma, way out in the middle of nowhere. And when I was growing up, I was the pianist and organist for our church. I wanted to sing, but I was always busy playing. And then I went to Academy at Ozark Academy in Gentry, Arkansas, and I was the pianist for choir, and I was the organist for everything. If there was an assembly or a Vespers or a church service or Sabbath school, I played for everything. They wore me out. So when I went to college in King, Texas, Southwestern Union College, I told my friends, don't tell anybody I play the organ or the piano. I don't want to play. I was totally worn out. I wanted to sing. So I started a group of singers called the Way Out Singers. So it was a group very similar to this. And we lasted as long as we were together in college. And then after 2 years there, I went on to Angwin, California to PUC. And I was inspired by Norma Bork, and I understand her son is here.
Yeah,
he came up and introduced himself. And she was the one that got me going in the direction of speech pathology. So I finished at PUC, then came down to Loma Linda and got my master's degree in speech language pathology and worked in the public school system for 41 years and finally got to retire. So I'm enjoying retirement now, and you know, they say, well, I don't know what you're gonna do when you're retired, but I find that the days just fly by. I'm busy all day long. I don't lack for anything to do. And by Thursday night, Mark and I are going, it's already Thursday night, tomorrow's Friday. It's almost the weekend. It's almost the weekend. It's a different feeling, but it's good. We're happy. I'm happy being retired. So that's my story.
V-I-B-L-E, let's do that 3 times and see.
Yes, that's the one for me. I stand alone as the word of God. B-I-B-L-E. B-I-B-L-E. Yes, that's the one for me. I stand alone as the word of God. B-I-B-L-E. B-I-B-L-E. Yes, that's the one for me. I stand alone as the word of God. B-I-B-L-E.
I don't suppose anybody remembers that song. Okay, just to our left is Carlos Mejia. And Carlos is our tenor. I think that's what he sings most of the time.
Usually.
Usually.
Sometimes bass.
Sometimes bass.
Whatever you want to say.
And Carlos has an interesting life. One of my favorite videos of Carlos is, do I need to tell this one? You don't know what I'm going to say, do you?
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, one of my favorite videos that actually went out on YouTube and had a lot of hits on it was him falling from this helicopter, and he's secured and then becomes partially untethered with somebody in the basket by him that he is retrieving. And this thing is going round and round and round, and Carlos is flying out there, and little by little they land him in the dust. And I don't know how he ever got his equilibrium back, because he was way up there when this whole thing started. I'm glad the last clip didn't come undone. Carlos, tell us something good about yourself.
Hi, I'm here. That's a good thing. My name is Carlos Mejia. I'm from Glendale. That's where I grew up. I was in Glendale when the Voice of Prophecy was still there, when the Southern California Conference was still there, way before they moved out to Ventura, wherever they are now.
Riverside, right?
No, Southern California Conference. That's Southeastern. I was there when Wayne Hooper was around. As a matter of fact, I went to Glendale Academy with his son Danny Hooper. And if you guys don't remember who Wayne Hooper, remember the King's Herald, King's Quartet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the singer, arranger, the whole thing. So I had a very interesting musical career there. Calvin Nipschild was my choir director. Some of you know he came out here to Loma Linda for some years. Is also Christian Edition is the song group that he's in charge of. So I had a very musical story and history. I enjoyed music ever since I was a kid. I started singing in Spanish because I went to the Glendale Spanish Church at first. Then I went to Vallejo Drive Church, Glendale Academy. PUC, that's where I met Don actually, many moons ago. Yeah, he used to be part of the Hawaiian Club. I'm not sure how he got on that one, but he was. Yeah, he sure did. He'd like do the hula or something. Anyways, I'm a registered nurse. I work here in the medical center in the emergency department. I've been here for a couple of years. And that little helicopter thing, I can give you the YouTube link if you really want it. It's Helicopter Rescue Turns Dangerous. Anyways, I like doing search and rescue. That's what that was all involved with. And I just love to sing and hang out with my friends here. That's it.
Heaven Came Down, number 51, indeed.
Heaven came down and glory filled my soul. When at the cross the Savior made me whole. My sins were washed away, and my life was turned to day. Heaven came down and glory filled my soul.
Okay, Gail is down there, our alto. And Gail is a shirt tail relative, which I don't know that she likes to say anything about, but we are. I'll announce it. And so, Gail, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am making you go take up something. You know, following Sonia's,
Here's the mic.
her.
You gotta get closer to the mic.
Sorry about that. I have a very loud voice anyway. Anyway, sort of follows Sonia's career, except I think I'm probably older. I have played organ and piano for Sabbath school and that sort of thing seems like forever and ever, not more recently. But anyway, and then went to PUC, also started speech pathology, but that's where I met a young man from just fresh back from Vietnam and, you know, who wanted to go to college. And in spite of the fact that my parents said, you know, you need to finish that degree, I chose to get married. And which is fine, which is really great. We have two wonderful sons, and their wives. We have 4 grandchildren, really the joys of our lives, absolutely. That's really pretty much. Yeah, it is. I really like these fun people. They are great. So it's really a good time. And as I look out, I'm always wondering if I know somebody here. I love to interact with people, and yeah, I know Bob from Loma Linda. I worked at the university, not only in the School of Public Health, also in the School of Religion for several years. So, been here for a while, enjoyed it, grateful, glad to be with you tonight.
This world is not my home, indeed.
This world is not my home. I'm just a passing through. My treasures lie below. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door. And I cannot feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then what I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door. And I cannot feel at home in this world anymore. So bring glory land, living eternally. The saints are happy glad, they're shouting victory. Their songs are sweetest praise, each life that heaven shown. And I can't feel at home in this world anymore. Oh Lord, you know I have no friend like you. If heaven's not my home, then Lord, what can I do? The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore.
I told you that Mark has a tough time sometimes being up here in front with us because of various things that happen. And tonight may be one of those nights because the big fire is about a mile away from his home. And so I think he's got the fire hoses ready and they are doing various things. So Mark, we're really glad you're here tonight. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, fire is close. It's about a mile south of our house. We live off Lantern Crest. But the aerial bombers were on it. The helicopters were going to put a bounce check around it. I checked with Station 2 guys.
Get closer.
I checked with Station 2 guys. I don't like these things.
I see.
And they said, go sing. I said, I have a singing date with a bunch of really wonderful people. And I said, bye-bye. Don't let it burn down. I'll be back here now. So my name is Mark DeLang. I am the bass, baritone,
Alto.
lead. I sing whatever I want because I like all those parts. And to continue the story of Sonia's and how we met.
Yes.
So she is at Glossier here in Loma Linda, is finishing up her master's degree at Loma Linda in speech pathology, and she was having some friends over for Friday night, which is the beginning of Sabbath, and she was a little short on time and needed to go to the grocery store and slipped out into Redlands to buy ice cream and bananas and stuff. So she drove all the way into Redlands to avoid the Sabbath and getting caught. Oh man, am I going to get it later? And so, but I'm so glad she did because they're at that grocery store in the aisle. We met. I was buying a quart of milk and a can of adult beverage for my boss. Seriously.
It's true.
And then we met in line, and I was behind her, and I gave her my green stamps, those stamps that you put on books.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and the blue chip.
Impressed her. She's having trouble getting her check cashed or to pay for her things. So then we ended up in the parking lot, and I go, oh, man, I can't let this one slip away. So I followed her home. Yeah. So in my little Baja Bug, my little bright orange Baja Bug, I'm blowing down Redlands Boulevard, following her back into Lowell, and then she turns into this residential area, and I'm going, oh, she's married. So I went straight and goes, nah. And I said, yeah, but wow, she's so pretty. So I drove the car over the median strip, backtracked, made the right-hand turn, and the yellow Maverick was gone. Maverick. 72 Maverick. So I said, I think my cousin lives somewhere down around here in an apartment complex. So I drove into that parking lot. Guess who was walking across the parking lot? A blondie. So I'm going, whoa, now is that in divine intervention or what? So I pulled up to her and said, hi, how are you? I would just like to thank you for smiling at me. Oh, what a line. And she goes, are you married? I went, nope, are you? She goes, no. I said, well, what if I call you in a couple weeks? And I did. The rest is history. 43 years.
Now we're gonna sing about the wise man. That is the next one. I had nothing to do with it. Number 53 in the E.
Wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. The wise man built his house upon the rock. And the rains came tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. And the house of the rock stood fast. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. The foolish man built his house upon the sand. And the rains came tumbling down. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. The rains came down and the floods came up. And the house on the sand was
All right. I'm gonna start over here. And Don Herger is here. Now, you guys in the front kind of step aside so Don can be seen. And you usually see Don playing the banjo. He has played the flute. He has played a lot of different instruments, but tonight he's on the big bass. So Don, tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm Don Herger. I'm half of Don and Diana Herger. Diana's not here tonight. She's not feeling well. But most of the time I get questions about this bass. So I'm going to tell you what this is. Save everybody some time. This is a 1930 Alcoa aluminum bass. It was they made them from 1929 until 1934. And when they stopped in 34, it was because their workshop closed. So that was sort of the end of that development. So that'll save you some time. That's what this is.
And then
That's, well, I might add in just a little bit here. When it comes to bluegrass, these guys like bluegrass. And Don and Diana and their team have, and Kim, who played violin with us for quite a while. You see her up there, part of the same group. And Kim's brother was with us. But they have several CDs out that are available. And when it comes to bluegrass, I think they just got back from a cruise to Alaska, a bluegrass cruise, which means on any deck you can join a team and play bluegrass until you're blue. And it's a whole lot of fun. They like to go up to Oak Glen and they perform there was it last Sunday? Or the Sunday? And they'll be there this coming Sunday. What's your times?
From 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
And so that's Los Rios Ranch. So they're our most notable group here that we are just very fortunate to have Dawn with us tonight. Take the name of Jesus with you.
Take my name of Jesus with you, child of sorrow and of woe. It will try to make you, take me wherever you go. Precious Jesus, oh my burden and joy of mine. Precious Jesus, oh my sweet, oh burden and joy of mine. And the great Jesus loved me, knowing cross behind me. He brought me to death around me, where the journey is complete. Precious Jesus, oh my sweet, oh burden and joy of mine. Precious Jesus, oh my sweet, oh burden and joy of mine.
Dennis Blomberg, you see him on the banjo.
That's my wife clapping loudly in the back. And in about 2 months, we will celebrate our 45th wedding anniversary. And we met in Glendale many, 46 years ago, probably, something like that. So anyway, so I play banjo and sometimes guitar and even play mandolin a little bit, but usually we have good representation. Dave wasn't there that day, so I played mandolin on a few songs that you'll see if you watch consistently. So, and love to play, and I'm glad to be part of the group.
Tell us what you did.
Oh, I less than a month ago, I retired as a physical therapist. So, started to enjoy the retired existence, and we'll see where that goes from there. I'm keeping busy though with many things, as Sonia mentioned.
Zacchaeus was a very little man. I think wee little man is what I remember.
He might not be a sick or drink, but the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior Master lay, he looked up in the tree. And he said, Zacchaeus, you come down. We're going to your house today. We're going to your house today.
I've always wondered what happened to Mrs. Zacchaeus. we're gonna surprise Mrs. Zacchaeus today. Is one that we did with the kids, and they loved that part of it. I don't know, Carol, did you like that part of the, because sometimes I've come home with a group and she didn't know either. But I've often wondered what Mrs. Zacchaeus said when this group of motley-looking people showed up at her door and she was told they're coming for dinner. 12 plus 1 plus who knows how many others coming for dinner. That was quite a thing, quite a thing. Dave's voice isn't working so good tonight, so I'm going to tell you a few things about him, and if you want to tell me that I'm wrong, you're welcome to. Dave is one of these talented guys. He doesn't really need music. He usually knows what key we're in. He knows also whether we're together, which a lot of times we're not. Are we together tonight? More or less. Okay. And he has made a bunch of instruments. You've seen him play on LLBN, the hammered dulcimer, where he has those. And he made one of those. And he played it on LLBN for a long time.
I mean, how many? I made 4 of them.
Yeah, give them mine.
That's all I can get.
That's all I get. That's pretty good. And so one day he came with a brand new one. I said, Dave, where's those old ones that you made? He says, I thought that when the camera was on me, it would just explode. Because there's a lot of tension on each one of those strings. And yeah, it could happen, but it never actually did happen. And it hasn't yet. So just about any instrument you give him, he can play. And Wal Danilo is there, professor of biochemistry. Tell us a little bit.
Well, I was born in Yugoslavia while it was a country, and now it's been split up into about half a dozen different hamlets, sadly. Unfortunately, that's what happens when people don't get along. Could there be a moral to that story somewhere? So it is my joy that we can get along very nicely together in this group. And sometimes it even sounds good.
Every day with Jesus. Now I'm going to hand the mic over here to Wes. And Wes, I want you to introduce our brand new friend tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Stan. My name is Wesley James, and I'm from Pune, India. That's where I was born and brought up. And after a few years, I came here to Loma Linda, and Loma Linda is my home for almost 30 years, and I'm enjoying every moment of it, especially when you are in a group like this. There's nothing more beautiful. When I was growing up in India, I used to play and sing all these songs, and when I left, I never thought we'd be doing these again. But when I joined the group, it came back, and I really enjoy with this group. And while we were singing, I heard this section of the group sing, and you sound so beautiful. Thank you, keep it up. There are two things I'd like to say about myself. I work at the university in the Office of Research Affairs, and so all the research that goes on in our institution, it's kind of coordinated from our office, and it's a wonderful thing, especially to see how we can share what God is doing for us through research, through Loma Linda. Also, the other thing that I am doing is I'm the director for the LLBN South Asia channel. You watched LLBN, and this is the South Asian channel which telecasts in 10 languages. And hopefully, next year we will add another 3. One of them is the Burmese language. 2 months ago, I was in New Delhi, and I was asked to visit a Burmese church. And it was a group of about 30 or 40 people, most of them were kids. And these are all refugees that came from Myanmar because of the problems there. And they were worshiping, and I played the music which I recorded to Dr. Stan and a few of my friends. It sounded so beautiful. And hopefully they will record and be able to share God's love through the Burmese people who have scattered all over New Zealand, Australia, Europe, America, and Canada. So pray for this group. Now I'd like to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Melan Narayan. He is a newcomer to Loma Linda. He's been here for a year. He's working in the medical center, and he sings bass and also he plays the guitar. This is the first time actually he is playing with us, and we hope that it won't be the last. He'll continue to sing with us.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. Most of the time I'm in the medical center and I see a lot of people like you there. And it's nice to come here and sing for you. So pleasure to be here, and I look forward to, I must mention, Dawn is my neighbor, and we see each other very often. And the other day when he talked to me, he said, why don't you come over and join us? So that's how I'm here today. Thank you, Dawn. And I look forward to many more times playing and singing for you.
I'll be somewhere listening.
When the Savior calls, I will answer. When He calls for me, I will answer. When the Savior calls, I will answer. I'll be somewhere on my way. I'll be somewhere, listening. I'll be somewhere, listening for my name. I'll be somewhere, listening. I'll be somewhere, listening. I'll be somewhere, listening for my name. If my heart is right when He calls me, if my heart is right when He calls me, when He calls me, I'll be somewhere listening for my name. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening for my name. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening for my name. If my robe is white when He calls me, if my robe is white, I will call Him. If my robe is white when He calls me, I'll be somewhere listening for my name. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening for my name. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening. I'll be somewhere listening for my name.
Rick Thorpe, I've known since college, and I was very interested to look at Google at his house. You know how Google drives around and takes pictures? And you kind of zoom in on it, and there's a tree in the back. And on that tree in the back is Rick climbing up there, cutting off limbs. And I know that Donna doesn't know this is going on. And so, Rick, I'm sure glad you're alive.
The thing that doesn't show in the picture is my wife Donna. She's in the back here. She was on ground level screaming something about you're gonna kill yourself, but I had earmuffs and stuff. She had to tell me about it later. But it was fun. That's how I spent my whole summer, cutting down that 40-foot tree. What an experience. I should mention that that's Donna not waving at, clapping at me, but she's back there with Stan's wife, Carol, and I should mention she also plays the ukulele. She's an excellent musician. She's actually practices more than I do, so that's our little secret. But I should just mention how I even got into this business. Stan mentioned that we hail from college days, and that's true. He was a well-known musician back then, playing loud music out the window and everybody telling him their opinion of his business. But flash forward a little bit, he tricked me into joining this group. He says, "Do you play the guitar?" And, that was the first line. I told him I did. And so back in those days, we had about 6 or 8 guitars and 1 mandolin and a piano. We were a little bit guitar heavy. So this is a short story, but one of our members that's not here, Harry Kawai, good friend of Mark and Sonia, he was a singer, introduced me to this sort of indirectly. We were at a little potluck and we were told to bring a small instrument. I couldn't bring my guitar, it was big. So I had a little ukulele that hung on the wall for a decoration and a doorstop, and had 3 strings on it, and it was like a jug. So I brought this to a potluck, and Harry picked this up and just played the most beautiful Hawaiian music, and I was inspired. At that moment, I said, I have to take a ukulele. So I blame Harry for this whole experience. So that's my contribution. I compete with the mandolins, but we're different category.
Yeah, a lot of you in the early shows remember Harry singing bass.
Really?
Give me that.
Deep bass. Harry Kawai is in Hawaii now. His father passed away, and he inherited 250 acres on the main island where they raise horses, and he lives on that ranch, in a ranch house with him and his wife. And he's convalescing right now. He was up on the roof doing some roof work and fell off the roof and broke his leg, broke something. But he's still doing music. He sings every weekend at church. And I called him up on his birthday, which was just a couple of weeks ago. And he wished everybody well and wanted to say hi to everybody. So hi from Harry. But that's what's going on with Harry. Retired in Hawaii. What a rat.
Absolutely. Wide as the ocean. Let's do it twice. I've known Mike Boyko for a lot of years, and I'm going to restrain myself and not tell you those stories. Just turn the mic over to Mike.
And the reason why he doesn't tell those stories, because I have just as many about him. Stan and I are both dentists, and we both went to Loma Linda. I've been teaching there for 41 years now. Stan and I practice together in Riverside, and he is my oral medicine dentist there, and an awesome good one too. And we have played together. I love this group. I'm one of the newer comers in this group, but still have been with it for 8 or 9 years or so. And most of the programs that I was in on the taping were lost. LLBN had a crash or something, and they lost all of the tapes that I was in, which is very sad. But that's okay. Anyway, so it's really a pleasure to be here. When I first started coming here, my mom was in the villa, and she would be here singing and clapping and just having a great time. And she has long passed since, and but I remember the Bachs here, Lowell Bach and his wife, and if you remember them, and a lot of different people here. And I just love coming back here because it makes me feel right at home, and I can just see my mom sitting right over there and singing along. So it's good to be here, and we're really very, very pleased and feel privileged to be able to play with you and sing with you and start the Sabbath off in a right way. So God bless you all.
This last summer, my daughter Sherry had the wonderful privilege of going to Kenya with Mike and Teresa and working in Mike's dental clinic in Kenya. And so there's a lot of things that this group doesn't know about this group, and there's a lot of things that this group doesn't know about this group. And so we're learning a lot tonight. But Mike, thanks for taking care of my daughter. When the roll is called, Up Yonder. Well, it's been absolutely marvelous to be with you tonight. It's hard to believe an hour has gone. But I'm going to ask Sonia if she'll have closing prayer, after which we're going to sing, Thank You, Lord, for Saving My Soul.
Let's bow our heads. Dear Father in heaven, we'd like to thank you from the depths of our heart for the thrill of being here with others who worship with you and worship in song. We ask for your blessing on each and every soul that is here and those that are watching. You know our needs, you know our passions, you know our love, and we ask that you be with us in every way. And we thank you again for this fellowship. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you and have a blessed evening.
On behalf of Linda Valley Villa, I want to thank the Strummers and Singers, Stan and the gang, and Carlos and Don. I knew Don Hergert back in the day when I was a kid at St. Lena Hospital. We worked in housekeeping together. Oh, back in 1974 when I was just a wee 16-year-old. And he played the banjo, and I was just kind of learning how to toot the harmonica back then. But he had this iguana. He and Diana had this iguana pet that was pretty cool. And of course, Carlos I knew from PUC. And anyway, it's a small world in the Adventist Church, but I want to thank you all for coming. And if you're watching live on YouTube, thank you for watching. All 500 million of you. Or maybe there's only 3, but anyway. You can feel free to watch this on YouTube anytime. It's live and it'll always be there. Just get on your YouTube and look for my YouTube channel, which is Kuya Dawn, Kuyadon, and then Lowe, Lowe, and look for Villa Vespers Singers and Strummers. All right, so you can watch it and enjoy. Well, take care. Oh, and for the Villa residents, Sabbath school lesson back by the television, according to James. So as soon as you can, right, James? Oh, and the parlor. He's changed it to the parlor. Okay, Sabbath school lesson study in the parlor. Okay, take care. God bless, and have a good evening. Happy Sabbath. Tomorrow evening, Gary Gifford will be here for Vespers.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for watching. This concludes our live broadcast at our Linda Valley Villa Vespers, the Singers and Strummers. Have a good night.
Yeah, the camera.
Yeah.